With episode 2 of The Amazing Digital Circus releasing just a bit ago, and episode 7 of Murder Drones reigniting the hype around Murder Drones, there is one question I commonly see found in comment sections, not only in my videos, but in other videos as well. Now, I expected this answer to be very straightforward and very short, and I was originally going to make this into a short, but after trying to record this video a few times, I've realized that this debate can really reach down into what indie animation is as a whole. Now, in case you haven't picked up on the idea already, or you haven't read the title, this video will delve into which show is better, The Amazing Digital Circus or Murder Drones. I'm going to address which show is better in 3 different ways to see which one really fits well in my idea. The first one being very formal and grading it in such things as animation, story writing, plot, characters, and things like that. The second way being a purely off enjoyment of myself, not delving too deep in what other people think, it's just how I felt about these shows in general, which episodes were my favorite and which characters were my favorite, and so on and so on. The third way is going to be off its fandom, its fan service, and everything in the community around the show. Now, I do recognize that rating a show purely based on its community and fan base isn't exactly the best thing to do, however, I'm including it because it will impact my conclusion at the end of the video. Let's start off the formal ranking part of this video with which show is more popular, and I'm pretty sure you already know the answer to that, and that is The Amazing Digital Circus. The pilot alone already has 315 million views as of recording this video, and the sneak peek for episode 2 alone got more views than episode 7 of Murder Drones. If you were to add up every single view collected by Murder Drones, including the sneak peeks and everything posted on Liam Vicker's channel, it would not even come close to the views on the pilot of The Amazing Digital Circus. Even without the view numbers, you can tell that the community for The Amazing Digital Circus is way larger than the Murder Drones community based on how much fan art there was and how much it appeared on YouTube and TikTok right after the pilot came out on YouTube. So the popularity point definitely goes to The Amazing Digital Circus, so let's look at the storyline. Now, it's kind of hard to rank this for The Amazing Digital Circus considering it only has 2 episodes out. However, I will still rank it to the best of my abilities. Now, in The Amazing Digital Circus, we haven't gotten any real world building in the actual show. We've just gotten some goofy adventures and introductions to the cast. Now, you could just chalk this up to that there are only 2 episodes out. However, Murder Drones doesn't really do this and immediately jumps into the world building. From the first 5 minutes of the pilot for Murder Drones, you already know what has happened and what is going on. Now, I'm not here to say that slow world building is not as good as quick world building. However, judging that The Amazing Digital Circus isn't exactly on the same pace as getting the same amount of episodes is very concerning. It's looking more like The Amazing Digital Circus is more of your classic TV show with more filler-like episodes with more goofy adventures rather than a plot-driven story like Murder Drones. With that out of the way, we also have the characters. Now, the characters in Murder Drones all have unique flaws and characteristics. Susie, the main character in Murder Drones, can be found having trust issues, especially at the beginning of the story. One of her character flaws is that she doesn't really like making friends. However, a disassembly drone named N quickly brings out the best in her and improves her as a person. Speaking of N, he is also one of the main characters in Murder Drones and is very wholesome and very trustworthy. He trusts everyone he meets and looks up to a lot of people. However, one of his character flaws is that he's very naive and doesn't really have a backbone. He doesn't really do anything that he wants to do and just follows everyone around. Whether this leads to good things like finding out things about his past or committing mass genocide. However, when you look at The Amazing Digital Circus, we don't really have a lot to work with. With the 2 first episodes of Murder Drones, you really know what you're working with the characters. You know their flaws, you know their characteristics, and you know their personalities. However, with The Amazing Digital Circus, it's not exactly like that. The only character they really do a deep dive into is Pomni, the main character of The Amazing Digital Circus. And even then, you don't exactly get into the level of depth you are given to the characters in Murder Drones for the first 2 episodes. I'm sure The Amazing Digital Circus will thrive and be a great show once more episodes come out. However, I'm going to have to give the point to Murder Drones on this one. The last category I'm going to reference in this section of the video is music. Now, the soundtrack of a show, it can be very important to set the mood and really emphasize the emotion to the watcher and really express what's going on. I'm gonna have to give the point to The Amazing Digital Circus on this one because the original soundtrack for The Amazing Digital Circus really helps set the mood. It is a close battle, however, because Murder Drones does have some banger songs. However, The Amazing Digital Circus gets a slight edge on this one. So there you have it. The Amazing Digital Circus is better than Murder Drones, right? Well, I still have 2 more categories to rank these shows out of, so let's get into those. The next next section is how I personally enjoyed the TV shows. Now please note that this is my experience and my experience alone. I'm not saying that this is how you should experience it. I'm just saying this is how I experienced it and this is how I would personally rank it. Now let me walk you through how I got introduced to in the animation. Now I personally got introduced to the Amazing Digital Circus first, at least the pilot. I kept seeing memes from the Pomni staring off into the distance thing, like the last minute of the pilot, you know, the iconic meme that was circulating around the internet for a while. I also saw a film theory video about it, and I was like, hey, maybe I should watch this. So I searched it up on YouTube, and I watched it, and I got introduced to indie animation. I didn't really think much of it until I saw another film theory video about murder drones. Now, something I forgot to mention, and I'm too lazy to go cut it back into the recording, is that I actually watched the film theory video about the Amazing Digital Circus before I actually watched the pilot, which spoiled everything, and I guess you could say that affected my viewership a little bit, but I don't think it affected it that much. So I thought to myself when I saw the Murder Drones film theory video, maybe I should actually watch the series before I watch this video. So I watched the Murder Drones series, and after staring at my screen for 5 minutes after episode 6 ended, because episode 6 was the last episode in the series at that time, I was really confused and had no idea what just happened. But I watched the film theory video and then rewatched the series, and after staring at my screen for another 10 minutes, I was like, dang, that was a really good show. I already knew what was gonna happen, I already knew who was gonna die, I already knew about V's sacrifice, I already knew that Uzi had the absolute solver thing, powers, whatever. Yet, as I rewatched the series, it still was amazing. I was still able to engage with the story even though I knew what was going on. And that's the beauty of Murder Drones. I rewatched the series over and over again, and still able to engage with the story. If you're able to rewatch something over and over again and it never gets old, you found a really good show slash TV show slash media. After a long, dragged on season of really bad shows or movies from Disney, I was very tired and wanted an actual good show, and Murder Drones filled in that gap. Murder Drones was, is, and will probably always be my favorite indie animated TV show made by Glitch. So if it wasn't clear, Murder Drones takes the cake on this one. I'm sorry, but the Amazing Digital Circus is gonna have to do something wild to get my attention. Now on to the fun part of this section, and that's talking about the fandom. Now I don't really want to talk about which fandom is the least toxic, because that in itself would be toxic if I were to actually pick a community to be less toxic, so I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to talk about how the fandom interacts with each other and stuff like that. Now if you're familiar with Murder Drones, you know that N and Uzi are technically in a canon relationship, and if you know even more about Murder Drones, you know that the fandom definitely fought over this before it was canon. Now although this debate definitely hurt the fandom a lot, we were able to recover after episode 7 came out, and honestly, it's not that bad. The Amazing Digital Circus basically has sort of the same problems because there were a lot of shipping wars, at least a lot of shipping going on the internet. Maybe not wars, but definitely close to those, especially when it came to Jax. And I swear to God, if I see another Jax edit in my recommended, I'm actually good. But overall, the fandom in both shows is pretty tame as long as, you know, you don't, you stay off Twitter and stuff like that. However, both have very varying degrees of artistic stuff. I'm not going to get into that because I don't want this video to get taken down. Now, after all this discussion in this video, after all the points I pointed out, after all the points I gave to each show, after everything I suggested and gave to you, which show is better, the Amazing Digital Circus or Murder Drones? Now, the answer to that question is that neither show is better than each other. Now you may be saying, whoa, why did I watch this video if you were going to give me some, well, it's the friends we made along the way thing at the end of the video, I'm just going to click off. Well, no, wait, let me finish. If you're trying to decide which show is better, the Amazing Digital Circus or Murder Drones, and you're expecting one or the other to win, you're looking at indie animation wrong. Indie animation is supposed to be something you look at and be like, wow, a bunch of people around the world got together and made this, and it's better than multi-billion-dollar companies that spend millions of dollars on animation and story writing and stuff like that, and it's so horrible. Instead of thinking, oh, the Amazing Digital Circus is way better than Murder Drones, or vice versa, start thinking about how both shows are huge accomplishments for the indie animation area in the internet. I mean, Murder Drones pioneered the Amazing Digital Circus. Without Murder Drones, the Amazing Digital Circus would have never happened, and without the Amazing Digital Circus, Murder Drones wouldn't have gone as popular as it is now. Fans from the Amazing Digital Circus came over to Murder Drones, and Murder Drones fans went over to the Amazing Digital Circus. Both shows are interlaced so much that without the other, it couldn't exist at all. I don't want you to leave this video thinking that I'm trying to tell you that you should like both shows. You can like one show more than the other. I'm just saying that you shouldn't dunk on the other show just because it's not the same. Because in reality, all of indie animation is an achievement, and instead of dunking on it, give positive feedback. Give good feedback and try to improve it. And even if that feedback's wrong, others will probably correct it. And the beauty of indie animation is that it can always change. And I want you to leave this video thinking that whichever show you like more, the other show is still an accomplishment, and you should still appreciate that. And that's all I gotta say. Subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.